will not do. I didn't work for like 2 years. So in those 2 years I didn't work, nobody could have told me to come and pay for anything. And there's one other thing I want to encourage us to do. I will call it Gadadu. Let's come together and do these things. The people that do these basketball lessons, baseball lessons, fine, they have the population, they have the numbers. One man comes together, teaches these children. Let's try and occupy them. So if there's anything you can do, occupy them. I remember last 2 summers, myself and my friend were trying to organize a Bible school for children. So we're like, drop off your children in my house, we'll get them engaged. After a while, you come and pick them. So in all thy gettings, men and brethren, in all thy gettings, get the love of God in your children. With these few points of mine, I hope I've been able to convince you and not confuse you that extracurricular activity is just a big name for play. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Oluchi. Thank you for that wonderful session. Everyone, please, is the audio a lot better now? Can you hear me? Um, is that it's not better? Okay, that's a problem, but it will get better soon. Oluchi, we have 2 questions for you before we can release you, but thank you. You've done amazing so far. So the first question is for the reading club, especially the African books. Do you know what the requirements are to join, or do you have some contacts you can share?
Excuse me. For the reading club, especially the African group, is oluchi.com. I am the one that is organizing it. We don't have an African literature, African teacher. It's actually myself and my husband are making our kids do reading club, reading African literature. And we're trying to see, okay, if we can get her friends involved. But how many friends do we know? All the friends she has are Oyibo friends. But we have chosen not to be deterred. We are doing our reading, whether Oyibo follow, Oyibo no follow. So it's I refer everybody to me.
Okay, so if anyone has questions about joining the African Reading Club, we can all just connect with you directly, Oluchi.
That's
Okay,
correct.
perfect.
You got it.
So I would share Oluchi's contact information in the chat window so that we all know how to reach out to her. And let's also not forget that she's a trained dentist. So even if you want to ask questions outside of childcare relating to healthcare, please feel free to reach out to Dr. Oluchi. The second question, really quickly, is regarding the foreign and ASL language. Do you have any idea if that's been offered for free?
No, the foreign and ASL is not offered for free. For the ASL, cost 380. I just registered my daughter. A little below $390. It's about $384 or $385. But there are different categories. I know they know I'm finished. It's just like English language, where we have primary 1, primary 2, primary 3, 11 different kinds of English. For the ASL, she's starting beginner's class. Hey, people should know that I have them plenty. They are wearing me left, right, and center. For the ASL, we have beginner's class, but every class is the same price. Oh, I have to mute. Sorry, love.
Okay, everyone. So, if you have any other questions for Oluchi,
Ruth, can I add to what Oluchi has said?
definitely, please go ahead.
I just want to give my response to 2 things. She just you spoke about the African Club. There's actually a website called africanstorybook.org that was designed by a professor at UBC. Africanstorybook.org is free, and I use it a lot. I'm going to put the link. And then for French lesson, actually, I'm also going to put the link there. My daughter has attended free French classes online since beginning of this year, and it's run by something from Alberta, but I'm just trying to get the link. So they're actually free French classes. And there's also the African Storybook, which is free. It's accessible to everyone. So it's africanstorybook.org. Yes. And then the French class, she's been doing the French class. I've just signed her up for the summer program this year, and it's just $5 to register, and you have classes for 12 weeks.
Awesome. If you could share the information, I would make sure that everyone receives it. Thank you so much, Mrs. Joanne. So because of time, I know we did start late, but we're very respectful of everyone's time. We would now go ahead to the second session, and I would introduce who our second speaker for the day will be. And that would be the wonderful Tracy, Mrs. Tracy Adole. So Tracy is a certified project management professional and innovative organizational leader in program management, research and development, science policy integration, and stakeholder management. Tracy has over 13 years working experience using data and novel techniques for strategy planning and decision making. She has worked with communities, industries, non governmental organizations, government institutions, and top rated researchers at national and international levels. She's highly skilled in building relationships and creatively bringing people together to achieve a common goal. So, Tracy has a PhD in Geography and Environment from the University of Southampton, UK, and currently is a physical geography instructor at Coquitlam College in BC. She is very passionate about finding solutions to real world issues using data, technology, and partnerships. Tracy is happily married with a daughter, and her hobbies are playing the piano and chess. So she's going to continue from where Oluchi left off. Now we're getting into elementary and above for the children, and she has lots of ideas to share with us because, as we all know, Tracy is our outdoor mama here in BC. Everything outdoor, Tracy is your contact. So thank you so much for accepting this invite and joining us today. So over to you, Tracy.
Yeah, good day, everyone. I wish I was the outdoor mama. I'm just trying, and I'm just gonna share a few things. I don't really think I know that much that I do basically with my daughter to try and get them busy and to probably just also plan for her future education, especially when she's planning what she wants to do when she gets into secondary school, because I've not still thought about that tertiary part yet. Okay, so I'll share my screen again like Oluchi. Let me try and be like her, sound professional like her. Okay. Um, okay, so yeah, and usually I know most times people don't get the pronunciation of my surname very well. It's actually Adole. My husband's from Benue State, so and Isidoma, so that's why it's pronounced that way. Okay, so I'm going to just talk about extracurricular activities again, like all that you said, and going to some of the ones that I've done dived really into while I'm here in BC. I came in July 2019, and since then have been trying to engage my daughter. I only have one, like holy shit, I'm not in the mood to I'm not in and counting. So and we've done quite some few, and I'm satisfied with some of them, and some of course you drop some of them and you continue with them. Not that it wasn't good, but probably because my daughter didn't really find it that interesting. And sometimes, like Oluchi said, it's you have to really put in your time, and sometimes it can really get strenuous and putting a lot of pressure on you. So I've kind of put the activities that I do with my daughter into some categories, like the sports related activities, and some of them that I know that are out there is swimming, gymnastics, dancing, skiing, and so I was supposed to put skating, but yeah, skating is part of them, basketball, soccer, and baseball. Swimming, it's something that I feel that it's a survival skill. I feel, I don't know. I just feel everybody should know how to swim. There's this incident that happened in December 2019. I'm sure most of you, it was headline news all over the world, where a Nigerians, particularly in the UK, and they've been there for over 10 years, a pastor and his wife and their three kids. The son and the daughter and the pastor, the man died in a very small swimming pool because they didn't know how to swim. Because the girl slipped, the boy was reflex wanting to go save the girl, he drowned. The father couldn't just see his two kids dying, he entered, and the three of them just drowned one day. If they only just knew how to swim. And swimming is something that you you don't really have to pay that much to learn, especially in societies like this that we found ourselves. And to emphasize again on swimming, my although my daughter knows how to swim, still I still pay a little, and it's not really much, right? I'm currently paying, I think, $46 for her to do 30 minutes of real professional swimming twice a week in a month. $46. That and it's just a very the my city um, recreational center very close to my house. So, and I totally understand that sometimes these activities, especially if you're a new immigrant and you just have, because I've been there, you just have this some savings that you come in with into the country, and you're telling me to use that money to go and pay for swimming and to pay for other things. I know sometimes we also do skating because we didn't have skating in Nigeria, right? But when you come and it's fun, right? Sometimes it's an activity that you can just make your child go do just normal skating, just pay and they do skating. And there are websites you can actually go to. I'm going to also share the slides after this. I'm sure people, the organizers, will be able to share this slide with you. And there are links that you can actually go, like this Kids Sports Canada. You can actually apply for grants, especially new immigrants, and they would pay sometimes full for your child to do these activities to make sure that they're busy. Then there's also Jumpstart, right? And even in your local cities, like city of Coquitlam, because the first 5 to 6 months, I really didn't have a job here, and the city paid for all my daughter's swimming, all the activities, skating, everything she was doing in the sports center. They just, I needed to do was just fill a form that I don't have a regular, I wasn't working, and you need someone very good, prominent member of the community to be able to sign for you. And I was attending a church, my Catholic church there, and the Reverend Father signed the form for me, and I just submitted it, and she had unlimited access to the recreational facility. So that's another thing that you could also do if you really don't have funds for that. But this society here is created in a way where you can actually engage your kids in sports related activities. So you could figure it out in your local city where you stay in. Then leadership, right? Like I remember, okay, I've not even been there. All she said, I'm the one, that will dive in deep. Leadership thing it's something I really hold dear. I really want my child to have confidence, to be bold, and to be a very good decision maker, and to be disciplined, right? So before we came, because I forgot to mention that part, I really didn't come directly from Canada, from Nigeria. I was in the UK for about 5.5 years. So even while she was there, even before she turned 6, she was already a member of Girls Guide. That was in the UK, and she was a brownie. At that very tender age of 5, 6, they go out camping for 2 days without parents, or you just pack them and they go, and you can't even communicate with them because they're not expected to go there with any phone or any electronics. So when we came here, the first thing I did was also to try and make her join guides here, and she joined as a guide because she was already 9 here when we came. And a few things she's done with them. She's done, I think Canada a little bit not as adventurous as with the girls guide in the UK, but at least they've gone out one night camping. I think they even slept outside here in Canada, somewhere in Maple Ridge. So these are things that you can actually do, or engage your kids with, and you teach them those leadership skills that they need to get. For the guides, I know it's if you go online and you try to apply, I think it depends on what city you are. It's over 200 or something dollars. However, you can it's just one click or two clicks of a button to say you need bursary or grant, and they would actually reduce your annual fee by sometimes over 50%, and your child can go whatever local branch that you find yourself in. They can be members of Girls Guide. That's if you have a female child, sorry. But maybe I don't think Girls Guide, they've not gotten there yet that they would allow male kids to join them, but it's something, if you have female children, it's something that you can, register your child in. And they do loads of activities that, encourage leadership. There was one that my daughter participated in one time, they make them keep quiet for over 20, for, I think it was a silence campaign. It was really very good because she talks a lot, and when she was doing that activity, she had to keep quiet because you make your parents sign and show that you've been quiet for a very long time. Apart from the other things they do, they teach them how to tie ropes and do all sorts of things, prepare their camping equipment and gear. All right. So another activity again, I think Oluchi mentioned it. I like the way she said baby military. It's the Naval League, right? When I was in the UK, before I came here, I was doing research. I wanted her to actually join paramilitary thing because I really feel that if there's one institute or one place where you have morals and all form of sometimes I feel some things there's the line between good, bad, wrong is very blurred sometimes. If one place is not, it's very clear, is paramilitary. So when I was researching that, I found out that you can be a cadet usually from 12 to 17, but I found out that particularly in Canada, you can actually be a cadet, or just the Navy League of Cadets, where you can join in from age 9 to 12. Yeah, this picture here is actually my daughter when they were doing a parade last year, I think. Yeah, before COVID and before the lockdown. I think, oh no, it was 2019, yes. And it was so funny because you can see how serious she is, right? When they were doing the parade, I was even trying to, because they were doing this fly pass with planes, and I was trying to tell her to look up, and she was like, she was so serious. And when I talked to her, why didn't you look up and look at the plane pass? She said, no, you have to be alert, attention, and look straight at. Okay. Can you see my slides? Can everyone see my slides?
Yes.
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 Okay.
You can see your slide. Okay.
So she told me that she had to be looking at her command. This is her commanding officer here. So she had to be looking at him giving orders. So, so, and like Oluchi said, when she was saying, really, I was also impressed because she argues with me at home, but she got the award of the most disciplined, I can't remember the award, the most disciplined cadets, and she got another one, the best cadets, something for I can't remember what the awards were in particular, the particular name. So that's one of the things, you learn in cadets. I remember the first 3 weeks when we were taking them, because she take them there, I used to take her 6 o'clock and we pick them at 9. And for the first 3 weeks, she was almost crying every time she was coming back home with me in the car, because they make them do parade. They make them stand for hours, over 2 hours. They're standing, and they don't talk with them with this. So it's okay. No, they shout and scream at them sometimes. So, but she's used to it now. She's gotten used to it. I remember there was a time even when parents went to pick them up, they were almost all crying when they were coming out. What happened? They told them to keep quiet, and some of them were still disobeyed, and they punished all of them. And they said what one does affects, so it's really a place where they discipline them, and they do camping too. I think there was a time they went to the base and they had to, because they're camping usually at the naval base, and she had to do guard duty, and her guard duty time was 3 a.m. in the morning. She had to wake up, wear her boots, clean her boots, come out and do the guard duty around the base with, of course, not only her, with another senior officer in the base. So those things, they teach them how to sail, how to set up their boats. They even teach them how to shoot guns, actual guns. They teach them how to do parade. They teach them first aid, so many things. And the good thing about naval cadet, is that you really don't have to pay so much. I think I paid less than $100 for the whole year, and you get that money back. I think about 75% back of that money when you return their uniform, because the uniform is for the military. They give it to you. They only borrow it. You get to use it, and when you're leaving, because you outgrow them at age 12, and you don't have to give back the uniform to them. And after that too, she knows already she's going to continue to, I think the other cadet activities you have in Canada here is the Royal Canadian Air Cadets. and that's from age 12 to 19. And I've met some parents that have gone through this, and how amazing it is that they have to go. Sometimes you get scholarships from it. In fact, it's easier for you to get into the military in Canada if you've been a cadet. There's the Army cadet too, there's a Sea cadet. Sorry, that spelling was wrong. But I want her to join the air cadets, because as an air cadet, you can actually get, first thing you do, your paragliding license. They teach them how to paraglide, and all of this is for free. And you also do in the first pilot license. You can actually get that as an air cadet. You don't have to pay for that. And it gives you, if you want your child to go into the military, and one of the benefits of also your children going to the military, not as, you know, in Nigeria, we get soldiers, we get officers, not as those, what do you call them, sergeant? No, as a real officer. They actually pay for your education, and something that, so some of you, I'm going to look at it, going to, you just like, I think you must serve, if you finish your university, you must have to work for them for like 4 or 5 years before you ever want to leave. But they will actually fund your whole entire education. And I don't mind that, because my daughter says she wants to be an astrophysicist and work for the Canadian Space Agency. And most people that actually work there are actually military personnel. So that's something that you can also look at. The links to all of this are there. You can also find go there and find out more information about this. Then there's also what is called the Youth Leadership Society of British Columbia. I knew about them when there was this test challenge from the Canadian Space Agency that my daughter partook in, and I got the link from them, and you can actually join them from age 5 to 19, and they do a lot of things. I think there's this award that is global, all over the world, the Duke of Edinburgh International Award. You can actually do that with them. They do public speaking programs, community service, and loads more. And then you just go to the link there. It's another thing you can actually check out if you want your child to learn leadership skills. Then, yes, so the music activities also I do here. There are lots of them, right? And some of them can be expensive. Like usually, if you want a very good teacher, the range is between $75 to $80 per hour, and that's usually once a week, right? And you can get very good teachers from the Royal Conservatory. That's the music conservatory thing in organizations or institutes in Canada. Then if you want something not, it's just average, you can actually Long Macway. I tried that when I first came in. We're taking lessons from Long Macway, but I wanted something, something more better. Yeah, someone's noise in the background. Can yeah. Okay, so I think someone's noise in the background. If the host can mute everybody, I don't know, it's distracting me. Yeah. So yeah, for her piano, she actually goes to Flavio Piano Studio, and for her violin, I usually got, she's quite, first of all, when we first came, we're doing Long back way, but I wasn't really very happy with the style of teaching. So I moved her to, you ask questions, right? And I found a very good piano studio where she goes to for piano lessons. And is that good that because of the way he has taught how to play the piano, although sometimes it can be very demanding because he wants them to practice sometimes 1 hour, 30 minutes a day. Let me just put it straight. My daughter practices 2 hours of music every day, Monday till Monday, every day. She at least does 2 hours of music. So piano and violin. So it keeps, one of the things I like with these activities, it keeps her very busy that she doesn't even have time to know what is on TV. So the studio, the teacher that she got is that good that she applied for this. There's this competition they do in Vancouver KSC something music award, and she got 3 awards there. All the pieces that she played, she was the best in all of them. So you can really get very good music and piano teachers that could make your child do very well in music. And currently she's learning from a very good violin teacher, which is also very good. And most of these people, you get them through referrals, right? And she's now playing, when she started with the violin teacher, she was at a grade 3, right? And she's currently playing a grade 6 piece with the teacher, which is so sometimes you need to really pay a little bit more, right, to get that very good quality teachers. And some of them, a lot of them, if you that's like you have to follow them a lot and get into their waiting list. So if if you're interested in it, it's good to start now, get into their waiting list until maybe one of their students will drop out, then they cannot put you in. Then, another activity that I also do is sometimes playing alone, even if you have recitals, you need to kind of expose yourself to what's out there. I know we have the Coquetlum Youth Orchestra Choir, which is a part of, and you audition to get into some of these places, but it's not that the audition is so hard. If your child plays fairly well, they can join, and it can be maybe first violin, second violin, it depends. There's also the Vancouver Youth Symphony Orchestra for people down in Vancouver. We're not in the lower, the Tri-Cities area. Then there's also choir. There's a professional choir, where there's one here in Coquetlon, which is the Coastal Sound Music Academy. These organizations, you actually have to pay a certain amount. I think for the youth orchestra, the string, you have to, I think it's like $500 and something for the whole year. I think $500 or $600 for the whole year. However, you can always apply for bursaries for these things. And I think I applied once for a bursary, and I think I got like 50% off or something. It's something the worst they will tell you is no, but if you can always apply for bursaries for things like this. Then other activities that, I feel I think I should also mention here is the first debating or public speaking club. She's part of this Fostering Debates and Talent Academy. They're really very good. My daughter was, when she, in her school, her creative writing, I can't remember one category in English. Before she joined this debate club, she was always proficient. But when she joined this debate club, now she's extending, because they just give them topics and they teach them how to rebuild ideas, to bring out your ideas, to arrange them in a chronological, logical way. So I think that training has really improved her style of writing, because you have to write your speech, and they give you very short, sometimes 15 minutes, 10 minutes, and she's gone for several debate competitions too. And why this Fostering Debate Academy is good is that they also do debate competitions with students internationally. This British, she just went for one, the British Parliamentary. Thank God for COVID. It would have been so much there would have been so much pressure for parents to start planning on how to take your child to the UK to do a debate. But because of COVID, they figure it out, and they've done all these things online. The only thing is that maybe she had to wake up 4 a.m. to join, because it's something in the UK. She had to wake up 4 a.m. to join that debate tournament. So those are the things, and it's bursary available, because if you check it out, I know sometimes it's the fees, I think it's like 3,000 or 2,000, I can't remember, for a year, but you can also apply for bursary. I applied for bursary and I got a 50% off, right? So these are things that it's not that there that you say, okay, it's too expensive, but you can actually apply and get some funding for it. Then there's also programming and coding. I just feel that I tell myself that the jobs that are there for our kids in the future are not yet known. And if you don't know how to program, then your options are very limited. So since we came here, my daughter has been attending under the GUI. It's a
Hi, Praise. Sorry to interrupt you, but you have 2 minutes more, please. Thank you.
Okay, I'll run up here. Under the GUI, it's a coding academy where she goes and she learns how to code. You have to pay for that anyway. But the other ones, I think this Aspire Hub, there's a one they do free, and the link is there. Then there's also Canada Learning Code. Then the other relevant links that I put there, there's varsity tours. You can add a lot of free classes there for kids of that age between 9 to 17. Then there's also the University of Waterloo Education, Mathematics and Computing. They have free stuff that you can actually learn, and even make your child join the competition. She joined one, which she did very well. You just practice with their stuff online, and these things can help you get bursary or whatever when you want to make them go to what's it called, secondary school. Then there's Khan Academy. Then there's in your local library too. You can actually there's lots of things in your local library that you'll be amazed that that's for free. Like, for instance, I volunteered to run a chess club in my local library. These are the dates, that's the upcoming dates. You can join the chess club and learn how to play chess. Yeah, and that's it. And that's my contact, right? And if you need to send me personal information on how to, or to learn more about, or to get more information about these things I've shared today, feel free. I think you can, Shaun should be able to share this with everyone. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. We really do appreciate that, Tracy. Thank you so much. It's really packed and loaded. There's so much information that you provided. So I personally always say that Tracy is my go-to person when it comes to, getting ideas. She's really inspired me and triggered that consciousness that one has to start even at a very early age for your kids. So thank you so much for sharing. Not to take too much of our time, we're going to move on to the final speaker for today. I'm just going to read her bio. Her name is Mrs. Joanne Anokru. She's a principal consultant officer and founder of Netherlands Educational Services, Nigeria, a resource teacher with the Vancouver School Board, British Columbia. She has a first and postgraduate degree in education, special education from the University of Ibadan. Also a master's degree in curriculum and pedagogy, leadership and administration from the University of British Columbia. Presently, she is a doctoral candidate in the Department of Curriculum and Pedagogy at the curriculum. Sorry about that. Can you all still hear me, please?
Yes.
Yes, we
Okay.
can hear you.
Yes. So presently, she's a doctoral candidate at the Department of Curriculum and Pedagogy at the University of British Columbia. Her research interest focuses on utilizing the narratives of Nigerian young adults with disabilities, their families, and special educators to inform the Nigerian educational system on ways to support inclusive education. Joanne Anokru has an advanced diploma professional development in inclusive education from Queen's University Belfast, a certified testing educational assessor with a real training UK, member of the British Society of Psychologists. She volunteers for various national and international organizations such as Autism Associates. You guys, I'm so sorry. I know you can all hear my daughter in the background, but I'm just stepping in for B. She'll be right back. And then also, she volunteers for various national and international organizations such as Autism Associates, Lagos Special Olympics of Nigeria, Lagos, African Foundation for Elementary Education, Abuja, Dubai Autism Center, Dubai, UAE. She has worked in the capacity of a special needs coordinator in KIP Magrat Educational Center, head of department and faculty, learning supports, Green Spring School, Lagos. She works at the head of school Premier International School for 3 years and set up the inclusive unit for children with special education needs. She's a registered member of the National Association of Special Education Teachers. Presently, Joanne is working on 4 books, working on Pebbles, narratives of parents on what it's like parenting a child with disability. Through our eyes, the narratives of educators around the world sharing their teaching stories and teaching one day at a time. My memoirs on teaching, The Word of Tablets, a collection of poems. Joanne is aptly married to Alex Hanokru. I'm blessed with 2 lovely children, Asha and Alexandra. So as you can see she is a superstar when it comes to this topic, and I do believe that we're going to gain so much from her. As a matter of fact, I feel that we just have very little time to get as much as we can from her. My very first interaction with her, I knew that I just needed to have her as a go-to person when it comes to parenting ideas, and I believe you all will be blessed and would gain a lot from her session. So without taking too much of our time, over to you, Mrs. Duran. Thank you. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced your name.
No, that's okay. Even myself, I don't know how to pronounce the last name, but don't tell my husband. Hi, everyone. Sheon, how long do I have? Because I don't have a presentation. I'm just going to speak to I'm going to speak to some of the information from the other people, from Tracy and Oluchi. And if anyone has questions now, you can start putting your questions on the chat and then we can take it from there. Sheon, how much time do we have left?
Okay, so you have 20 minutes for your session, and then afterwards we're going to take questions for both yourself and Tracy's session. So just like he said, would appreciate if everybody can put their questions in the chat so we can just address that immediately after.
I want mine to be more interactive. I'm
okay,
not
that's fine
because
then.
presentation. So hi everyone, my name is Joanne. I just put the link for the Canadian parents for French, BC and Yukon. Go to their website. They actually run free French classes. I think from ages 5 to 14, I can't remember. You know, my daughter is going to get up to the cutoff mark soon, but hey, you know, they offered lovely French classes, 1 hour every week for the entire spring term, and it was awesome. And so I'm just going to quickly speak to, thank you, Tracy and Oluchi. You guys have just done justice to, you know, extracurricular activities in Canada. But I'm going to respond to something Tracy said. She says extracurricular activities are free in Nigeria. Yes, they might be free, but I want to disagree on that because I have two kids my son is going to be 21 this year and my daughter is going to be 14 in a few months' time, both of them. And right from when I've just been in Canada for 7 years since I came for my degree programs. But right from Nigeria, right from when my kids were like maybe 18, 19 months, I immersed them into extracurricular activities because even though our schools offer this extracurricular activities, they're there. But hey, how much more can you offer them? I had to get them into music. I had to get them into swimming. I had to get them into basketball, into tennis as at an early age, and into music. And why am I saying this? That even though some of them are free, but hey, it's necessary that we engage our kids in so many extracurricular activities. And the good thing coming to Canada is that so many schools offer these extracurricular activities free. But the truth be told, as an educator, I am speaking for us. I hardly, correct me if I'm wrong, I hardly see Black parents coming to schools to ask questions or to be involved or to know, you know, and even right from Nigeria, I taught in private schools in Nigeria. Parents have more power when it's in school. Oh, they come to you. I've been in position of a head of school and head of faculty. They come and like, hey, we need this because they're paying so much money. But now schools offer this. It's for us now to go ask questions. What kind of activities do they have? My daughter's in high school now. My son is in university. Since they came to Canada, I know my daughter alone in secondary school, she learned how to play the ukulele. She learned how to play the acoustic guitar. She's learning how to play the double bass guitar. She's learning how to play the bass guitar, 4 instruments in school, and I've not paid one dime. And she's good across all these instruments. The only music lesson which we're paying is the cello. And I think Tracy spoke to that Longer McQuaid. Longer McQuaid lessons is about $27 to $28 for 30 minutes, which is beautiful. Swimming, my kids there swimming right from Nigeria. And so coming here, it was just easy transition. We were paying so much for swimming in Nigeria. Now swimming here, it's like little or nothing compared to what we have back home. Then Oluchi spoke something which I had a bit of cringe when she said that. She said special needs does not really need so much extracurricular activities. I want to disagree with that, but Oluchi, you're a medical doctor. You tell me. I was fortunate to have done a research 4 years ago on sports. Even from Nigeria, I did a research in 1992, between 92 to 94, sports and disabilities. And I went to all the states in the western part of Nigeria to collect data. And I went to schools from elementary to secondary to university, from Lagos to Oyo to Ogun, to Osun, to Kwara, all the Western states. I wanted data on how do students with disabilities get involved with sports. And I saw the importance. And so if you have a child with special needs, notwithstanding what form of disability, please, one greatest way to build your child's affective skills, psychomotor skills, and cognitive skills across board. This is not just children with special needs. We need to engage them in sporting activities. Sporting activities, number one, builds character. Character building actually comes, a lot of character building comes from extracurricular activities because one, it teaches you to be diligent. If it's sports, if it's music, it teaches you also consistency, and it also teaches you how to be at a place on time. So all of this we can take away from sports activities and music. You know, I'm supposed to be speaking to higher elementary and everything, but Tracy and Oluchi, let me give you, and to so many of us parents here, let me give you the greatest shocker. I have a child who's 22, I have a child who's 13, 21 and 13. My kids loved extracurricular activities until when they hit a certain age, teenage years, 13, 14, and my son says, hey, mommy, I'm done with this, I'm done with this, I'm done with this, I'm done with this, this is all I'm doing. What will you do? You cannot, at that point in time, you know, at that point in time, they just want to focus on one or two things. And my son decided, hey, mommy, I'm only going to focus. This is someone who was one of the greatest artists in Green Spring School back in Nigeria. He was doing so many sports. And he said, mommy, I'm only going to focus on soccer and American football. And finally, even dropped the soccer along the line, and his entire focus is on American football. My daughter, at this point in time, at 13, last year, I mean, COVID really affected so many things, but she just told me not too long ago, she said, mommy, I'm only going to focus on basketball and volleyball. This is someone who does so many sports, but she just picked two. And then for music, she says she's just going to focus on her string instruments. She does photography, and she does photography and arts. She's been going to an art school for the past 5-6 years. And the art classes were literally $115 per semester. That is over a period of 4 months. Lovely art teacher at UBC here. She lives in Westbrook Mall. I live in Vancouver. So all of these skills are things our kids need because it's going to build on, Oluchi spoke something, character building. No matter how much academic our kids face, hey, what they need is something because one thing extracurricular does is it helps with the cognitive way of thinking. It channels the child's way of being into a place of, hey, I'm doing something different. I'm doing something extra. That's why it's called extra. But then it's building up the skill. It's giving the child that sense of belonging, sense of becoming, and sense of interconnectedness. And we're all looking at and the thing about, I would like to encourage every parent, as much as you can, avail your kid with so many things, but as a psychologist, you always have to look at the innate ability of your child. Don't say because, hey, Ruth's daughter is this, I think my daughter will love this. Find out what skills. It's all about your child. It's not all about me or you. As parents, especially as African parents, we tend to set targets on ourselves that we forget that this child that we're talking about is a being. B-E-I-N-G is a being that has come into this world not as a vacuum, but as someone who has potentials. And those are things we need to tap into when we start thinking of what extracurricular activity does this child will be best fitted for this child. And I don't pick extracurricular activities for my kids. I just expose them to as many as they can. And then finally they tell me, hey, mommy, we're going on with this, we're going on with this. But one thing I noticed from my kids, they have that innate ability about music. Both my kids started playing the guitar and piano as early as like 2 years. I exposed them to music because my son more or less started singing before he started talking. And so that's the thing. And I've shared with you about the African storybook. Foreign language, I've also shared with you. And then something Tracy spoke about, Girls Guide. The Girl Guide is a beautiful extracurricular activity. Fortunately, my daughter went from brownies to guides to Pathfinders. Pathfinders is 11 to 14. She's going to be rounding up Pathfinders this year before she now goes on to the next level. I think it's about $112 a year, and they meet once a week. They go camping, and I think they also offer bursary if you can. But I mean, it's and if you can't even afford the camping, they always, and something I know my daughter learned a lot from the Girls Guide. They discuss a lot. They have so many themes. They walk around, and if you have a child, a girl child, I would encourage you to sign up your child for the Girl Guide or Brownies or Sparks or Pathfinders, depending on the age. But then if you have a male child, you have the Boy Scouts. The Boy Scouts, they also have the Boy Scouts Canada. It's beautiful. It's a good one for you to join. And what do I need to speak to? I think that's it from me. If you have any question, you can ask now. But for those of us who have kids, older kids, okay, yeah, quick one. I found out that there's so many secondary schools and so many universities. When they want to offer scholarship, I actually sit on the MasterCard Foundation committee here. I've been on the selection committee for years. And some of the skills they look out for is, what do you bring on the table besides academic ability? Unfortunately, we come from that context or the culture where it's all about A. You can have all the A's, yes, but then you don't have the extracurricular activities to bring on board, boom. We will not look at that. Does this person, what other extracurricular, is this person a good swimmer? Is this person good in public speaking? Is this person very good in, I mean, my daughter is a level 2 equestrian. She's been horse riding for 2-3 years now. And she's the only Black child in the entire stable. And I wonder where the other Black kids here. I try to encourage friends who have Black kids, bring your child to the stable. Let's show people that we too can ride horses. And I'm aiming for her to go to another school when she's done with high school, where they're looking at all of those extracurricular activities she's going to bring aboard. This is someone who knows how to swim. This is someone who knows how to play literally all the string instruments. She's also an equestrian. Tell me, the competition you have there, and someone else could have all the A's and not have all of this. So I would encourage all of us. There's so many free ones, like Oluchi has said. Tracy is also volunteering. Yes, volunteering is also a good one that we can encourage our kids, because that's another thing we look out for. What places you volunteered. I remember even my first job with a British school, the first thing the principal asked me, hey, Joanne, have you ever volunteered before? I said, yes. Boom, I got the job, and I'd never worked anywhere before. His goal was, have you ever volunteered before? Someone is asking the question, stables. I live in Vancouver, UBC. So she goes to the stable at what they call Southland Stable, which is just by UBC. But you have very beautiful stables at Langley. If you live in Surrey or that side of town, there's so many beautiful stables in Langley. I mean, I wish we could do Langley from here, but that's going to cost us about like over an hour to 2 hours drive. I don't know how long Langley is from here, but I know, so we do the horseback riding, yeah. So you see Maple Ridge, And if you get good, you don't have to have a horse. You can actually lease one, which we've leased in the past 2 years. And so she had Victoria, which, I mean, she's been riding. But again, she said, Mommy, she wanted a break. And I understand, because there's sometimes for our kids, life could be so overwhelming, especially with the COVID. So many of our kids went through, now speaking as an educator, high level of mental issues, where as parents, I'm hoping, Sheung, we could talk about that in the nearest future, mental issues in our kids. How do we help them deal with the trauma of staying at home and going to school from home and not having that access to, social skills, social interaction? So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Joanne. That was really wonderful. And thank you to Sheung who stepped in. Can you all hear me? Is the audio a lot better now?
Perfect.
Yes, it is.
Awesome. Okay, thank you. So now we're going to ask a couple of questions. These questions will be for all of the three speakers at the same time. Not at the same time, for the three speakers. So whoever has information to share about it can go ahead and share. I'll be starting with Oluchi. So I have a direct message here from one of the moms who says that her child is autistic and to know if you have further recommendations. Could you please take that question?
Did you want me to take the question, or you want Joanne to take the question?
You can take the question because she actually asked you that question in particular.
Okay, just before that, there's something I want to clarify. I couldn't have said that special needs children do not need extracurricular activity. Maybe you were looking at my slide as I was talking. Unfortunately, I had to go back and look at that slide. When I put the slide, because I was explaining alongside, I mentioned, does your child have a special need? Not every child needs sports. Some children will not do sports. Special needs children need extracurricular activity. If you were to ask me in the spectrum of who needs it, I think they need it more than children that do not have special needs. But what I'm trying to say is that every child's need needs to be addressed. There are some extracurricular activities that might put undue stress in some children. And then I dropped two links where I said there was a lady that was very good at special needs children. She groups them according to their age group, and she also grouped them according to the needs they need. I follow her on Facebook, Barbara. So, and I mentioned that John seeing her very intimidating resume, it's in a very good position to talk about special needs and to educate us more, especially when it comes to autism. I might know one or two things about autism. I don't have children with autism. I've worked with children with autism. Back home in Nigeria, I worked with a lot of children with autism. And somehow, I don't know why, most of the time when the kids come to the clinic, I happen to be the only one that can get across and attend to them while every other doctor shies away from it. For her question, I think I will hereby leave it for Madam Joanne to answer. I think she's in a better position to answer in this community of ours based on that resume that she has. I hereby refer you.
Thank you, Oluchi. So Mrs. Joanne has already shared some resources in chat.
So what's the question of the parent again? Sorry.
She wants to know if there are specific extracurricular activities that her child who is autistic can engage in.
Okay, I'll need to correct something first. It's the child with autism. So it's the autism. So yeah, that's the. So if I can connect with the parent, because I'm based on my profession, I don't like just giving you a blanket, just give you a blanket picture when I don't know what level your child is. I'm sure Oluchi and Tracy will understand. So many parents, Oluchi being a doctor, you won't just give a treatment when you've not met with the child. I'm willing to speak with you, but maybe not after this call because I have to record some videos but I'm willing to speak with you. You can get my contact from Shehu. I can speak with you. We can take it up from there. But there's what we call adapted physical education, APE, which I've taught I taught for 2-3 years while I was teaching at UBC early in 2014 when I was teaching the physical education cohort. So for physical educators, I teach them that when you have a child on a wheelchair, or when you have a child, I've taught what they call football, soccer for blind people. So when you have blind people with visual impairment, you can actually teach them to play football or soccer. We put a bell in the ball. There's a ball that is adapted. Put the bell in the ball. Just them listening to the ball move, they can kick the ball around. I've done at basketball, wheelchair basketball, where someone on the wheelchair, has somebody with him, and then he's bouncing the ball. And if he wants to shoot the ball in the net, he gives the ball to his body to shoot the ball in the net. That's someone on the wheelchair. If it's someone depending on every child, no matter what, except the child is just comorbid, but every child with any form of designation can access sports. It just boils down to how do we adapt and plan the lesson. So ma'am or sir, you need to speak with me and then I can direct you to what kind of sports and if your child is in school, I can give you an insight on conversations you can have with the teachers so they plan the game or sports around them, because sometimes teachers don't know. A lot of our sports are team-based. Sometimes children don't know how to include another child who has designation into team-based sports. So it becomes very difficult. But again, you have individual sports. Golf is an individual sport. Bocce ball is an individual sport. There's so many that are what we call target games, single person playing the game. That's where we can start from before you start inviting them to team-based sports. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Next question. So whoever's most comfortable to answer the question amongst the speakers, please do go ahead. The question is, do you know if there are any tax rebates for extracurricular activities? So at tax time, can these extracurricular activities either help you get more tax returns, or can it help you reduce the taxes that you pay in general? So the question is to all three speakers. Who would like to answer?
Okay, I could try. Well, I know I pay some. Well, no, let me not say a lot, but I pay a reasonable amount of money for extracurricular activities. Unfortunately, yeah, none of them is able to get me any tax rebate. The only one that gets me a tax rebate is the school fees I pay for my daughter in the Catholic school she attends. Yeah, that's my own experience. I don't know if other people have done it.
Years
Yeah.
back, I think years back in BC, you could get rebates. I think this stopped 2 or 3 years ago, because when you file tax, they will ask you to write the extracurricular. But I think last year or 2 years ago, I noticed they removed BC from me when filing tax. So hey, it's your call. Just get your child into the sports and extracurricular, and don't worry, God will sort us out. Yeah, that's why we're walking.
Thank you so much, ma'ams. The next question is directed at Tracy. Tracy, you mentioned about grants. Is it a public pool of grants, or do I have to go to each specific activity I'm interested in and ask if they have special grants before applying?
Okay, yeah, there are two types, right? The ones on the activities that I put on my slides that talked about sporting activities. You can actually get grants from those organizations like sports kids, I can't remember what it is, but it's there in the slide. You can actually apply to them and they'll give you grants that will pay for the activities that you've chosen in your local community. Then there is the one of your city, right, where you can actually go to the recreational center itself. Most of these things are not even there online, but you call them up and you ask them and tell them this is what you want your child to do, but you're not here working. And there's there's something they would let you feel, and they will give you access to the recreational activity center, and your child can participate in skating, swimming, and all that. You don't have to pay for that. Then for those specific organizations like the Fostering Debate Academy, and you can actually, or and the orchestra, right? You can actually apply to them and fill a form and ask. First of all, sometimes all you need to do is ask, and you fill a form, and they would sit with their board, and sometimes they will ask you for. They're very specific. They will ask you for your CRA. What do you call that? Where you file tax? That what's that? It skipped my mind. The tax, that document you do.
Notice of assessment.
Notice
Notice
of
of assessment.
assessment.
Yes, notice of assessment. They ask for it.
Notice
That
of
they,
assessment.
yeah, so they ask for it, and we submit it when you're submitting your application for grant, and they would give you the grant. Yeah, so depends. If you have to, it depends on what you're earning too. If you're earning so much, so unfortunately, they won't give you the grant. If you're earning like maybe probably over 100,000, yeah, per annum, I don't think, yeah, 120, they may not give you the grant. But if you are not earning that much, and especially if you're a single income family, most likely you get the grants. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome, thank you. I can see that some participants have their hands raised. Because we're being respectful of everyone's time, would like to please encourage you to put in your questions in the chat window instead of giving everyone the opportunity to ask their questions verbally. We apologize that we started late, but we still have to be very cognizant of the time. Before I ask the next question, I would just like to mention that this is just one of many series that are being planned, that is being planned by the Nigerian Residents in BC platform. We do intend to have a lot more sessions, and Seun would share the information, especially as regards LGBTQ parenting in Canada, discipline in Canada, and much more. So please watch out for more information from Seun. Okay, so this question is from one of us, and it says that in the course of bringing up your kids, how have you dealt with issues around the LGBTQ topic? I know that Oluchi has indicated interest in answering this question, but I would just like to let us know that as much as possible, let's keep this really, really succinct, because we will have a detailed session on LGBT discipline and parenting in Canada. So that we can focus on extracurricular activities today. But Oluchi, you have half a minute to please respond to this question.
Okay, thank you for having me. Timer starts now. For teaching your children about LGBTQ, in as much as some things where we come from, some things are not legal, or some things are different. You're not in a country where everything is different. You're in a country where everybody has rights. So whether you like it or not, these people have rights, and they have a right to their belief, they have a right to what they think, they have a right to how they think of what they think. Now, you have to balance this with your culture, your religion, what you want. And even as you are balancing this, you have to also make your children understand that everybody has rights. That's why I said, when you're thinking about extracurricular activities for your children, you think about things that can also help them when it comes to peer group pressure, things that also help them. You also think of your culture, think of where you come from, and think of what you want. It's a beautiful thing that Sheil has prepared a session for things like this. But I want you to understand that even in the house of God, everybody's loved, and everybody comes loved, and everybody comes in welcome. Even if you don't agree with what everybody does, you just have to understand that everybody has a right to what they want to do and how they want to live their life. We just have to accept it in the country that we are in today. So let it not worry you too much. That's the point. Let it not be something that will give you sleepless nights. Focus on what you teach your children, how you teach your children, your culture. Some things change after a while, just like things have changed. Some back then in school, there were things they taught us were not proper. There were things they taught us, but after several researches and after a lot of things now change. They open up a book and tell you it goes like this, does not go like this. So that you agree, you no agree. Hey, I bet there's one gist I would have going to gist, but I won't gist it now. I know I said storytelling is my hobby. It will distract us. My 1 minute is over. Ruth, 1 minute is no issue.
Thank you so much, Oluchi.
Can I add to what Oluchi has said? Oluchi, thank you so much. Tolerance. Being an inclusive educator, I know my inclusion is geared towards people with special needs, but I'm fortunate to have worked with a lot of people on the LGBTQ, double-spirited and all of that. It entails a lot of tolerance, and I'm sure for so many people,
Hello.
We've lost her.
Oh, okay. Um, Hopefully she'll be able to reconnect soon. For everyone who has questions about raising a child or raising children, and you're concerned about LGBT and things like that, please feel free to message Sharon directly or message myself or Oyidamola, anyone in the events committee, and we would ensure that the session that is being planned addresses all of your questions. We still have Oluchi and Tracy online, so I would ask the last question. Yes, I believe this is the last question. So talking about staying at home due to COVID, my 8-month-old literally wails when he finds himself with a lot of people around. For 2 Sundays now, I have had to walk out of the church immediately we step in. How do I gently integrate him into society, considering that I have to walk out each time out of respect for others? So Tracy, Oluchi, do you want to try
I'm
and
laughing.
answer this question?
I'm laughing because this happened to me. I'm happy because it happened to me. I'm happy because if with my first daughter, even when the car drives fast, the way she jerks and the way she shouts, I have to hold her like, baby, what did it happen now? At the point I was just saying, is it a spiritual problem? You know, we are Africans now. I was like, is it a spiritual problem? Then I remember one time taking my child to a church. We are Catholics. We are usually very pious, looking unto Jesus kind of worship. And I took my child to a Pentecostal church. And then when pastor started, hey, my child started wailing, shouting, wailing. I had to run out of the church. And I said, this one is not, we have to cast this demon. What kind of rubbish is this? That was because I was worried. But it's exposure. I later discovered, beautifully enough, my mother-in-law helped me. She was with me there. My mother-in-law said, inside this in the house, way too quiet. Una know they come outside. Una know they do anything. Una they do book, doctor. When your pikin still waiting different, I know go shout. Then I now realized that it's my lifestyle, it's our lifestyle. So gradually, I started exposing her. I'll put her on my back, tie her with wrapper. We'll go for stroll or in a noisy environment. I'm not joking. I'll tie her on the wrapper and we'll go to the market. The things I usually don't do. Tie her on the wrapper, we'll go to market. We'll walk past people that are shouting. But there's this comfort of she's in my back. She knows I'm there. I'm there to protect her. But she just has to realize that, you see, all these things going on is part of life. You just gotta know it's part of life. And Canada is a very quiet place. You need to be with people like Tracy. She can make noise. She can generate noise. You need to arrange one outing with Tracy like this. And you people will stroll around and noise will be shaking everywhere. Take her to the park. People are screaming. After she has finished shouting and realize that people are having fun, only she will by herself and advise herself that, man, I got to loosen up, man. That's just what I mean.
Thank you very much, Oluchi. Before we thank our speakers and round up today's session, I would just like to share. Oluchi, can you just mute? Thank you. Mute the sound. I'd just like to share a few more resources in addition to what all of our speakers have touched on. And that's the fact that extracurricular activities can be pretty expensive in BC, but it doesn't mean that there aren't always options. If you're unsure of if your child will be committed in the long run and you don't want to infuse lots of funds into something that your child may grow out of, summertime is a wonderful period to explore all of those options. I know that for homes where both families are working, it can be pretty difficult to manage the time, but thankfully you also have extended learning as well as pick up and drop off services. So during summertime, you could explore the horse riding. When I checked out the information on horse riding, as children as young as 5 and 6 can actually start taking lessons. You have stables here in Surrey, you have in Delta, you have in Langley, and if you live closer to Vancouver, you also have options over there as well. So you could use the summertime, and for the horse riding, for 1 month during summer, it can cost between $200 to $300 thereabout, depending on how many hours you want to commit to it. If you want it to be a full day camp, if you want it to be 1 hour per day, all of this information you can also find online. But that way you're not spending all of that money at once, and your child gets to discover if it's something that they want to continue doing. Regarding vacation, regarding Bible school, you can also explore that during summer. So you have VBS, which is called Vacation Bible School. It runs out of churches, out of daycare centers, childcare learning centers, and it's usually about between $20 to maybe $50 maximum, depending on the age of the child or depending on the center. In Surrey, Vacation Bible School is offered out of Helping Hands Childcare Center, Cedar Grove, a number of churches. Some people run it for 1 week, some people run it for a month. All of this information you can also find online. And if you notice that it is something that your child is interested in, you could then graduate to Awana. So Awana is an extracurricular activity that runs for several months in a year. And it's more like a kids' Bible club. So it's more intensive than the usual Vacation Bible School. So I just wanted to touch on those two. And then in summary, to let us know that it doesn't always have to be an expensive activity. There are free activities that are available around you. You just need to check. Let the internet be your friend. And this is also the best time to mention that the Nigerian Residents in BC platform also has subgroups. So find your subgroup and join the subgroup. If you live in Burnaby, if you live in Vancouver, there is a subgroup with a coordinator who can also help you. If you're in Cloverdale, White Rock, South Surrey, Fleetwood, we have many different subgroups, so you just need to find a subgroup. If you're unsure of what subgroup you belong to or who to contact, reach out to Sheung or Onidamola. I just keep mentioning your name. Reach out to Sheung or Onidamola, or just post on the main Telegram group, and you would be directed to your subgroup where you can ask information for your area or the environment where you live in. So it is 7:01 now, and keeping with the time. Thank you so much, Mrs. Oluchi, Dr. Oluchi, Dr. Tracy, Mrs. Joanne as well. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the commitment. We do hope to have you all back again. This is not the end. So please do look forward to our invitations, and definitely accept the invitation when you do receive them. This has been a very insightful session. It's been really enlightening and very beautiful. For everyone who still has questions, feel free to send those questions later on. We will share the slides as well as the recording of the session and the contact information for all three speakers.
So can I add something? I started up a youth initiative last year in Vancouver for youth. So we're looking from 12 to 21. And it's a time where I get, last year I had so many facilitators come talk to the students, to talk to the youth, but they generate their topic, they share what they want to hear. Like I know just before summer, they wanted to know what are the programs available for summer, what they can do over summer. And then when they had, some of them talked about mental health issues, some of them talked about education, some of them talked about, connecting with other Africans, it's so, but the reason behind that was just around, especially when the Black youth in Canada, there was a lot of rancor around Black youth. So I will be sending out the link once we resume in September. So if you want your youth to join in, it's a lovely time and everything is online, pending when we start meeting physically. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mrs. Joanne. Now that we have you back, could you just finish answering the question on LGBT, because you had started before it got disconnected. Do you have to complete that?
Yeah, 1 minute, just 1 minute. My internet was messing up. So building on what Oluchi said, I don't know if so many of you are aware of the SOGI curriculum in our school system, the BC school, which is sexual orientation, gender identity. I remember a lot of parents coming to meet me, hey, why is my child in the class? Why is my child this? Why is my child that? I want to pull my child out of the class. It's like, as Oluchi said, tolerance. And two, it will be nice for our kids to hear this and I'm not saying believe the LGBTQ, but be connected with the conversations going around. Because it's like we as Black, we're asking for allies. LGBTQ too, they're also asking for allies. But if you extract your kids from this conversation, they will from someone else. We're not with our kids 24 hours.
Okay, it looks like we just lost Mrs. Joanne again. The LGBT conversation.
But it's what I'm saying is that let's allow our kids engage in those conversations, and they come back home and we talk with them. It's necessary we talk with them, but don't come to your kids like you're coming from a place like, hey, don't talk about it. It's a taboo in this house. No, it's a place for us to have conversation. I mean, it's just like when we're talking to our kids about our sexuality, sex, and I don't know how many of us, when we're growing up, our parents spoke to us about everything a woman should know. What's that book? Oluchi, everything a young lady should know. But again, our kids want to hear from us. But please, I will encourage every one of us, understand the conversation, have these conversations with your kids. And I love, Oluchi, you just hit the nail on the head. You were spot on. Tolerance, and they have the rights, they have the audacity to live with us. And I will say I'm also to the LGBTQ team. I'm an ally and I'm an advocate for them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Joanne. So yes, we have come to the end of today's session. If there are any particular topics, or if you have any events that you would like us to host, please do reach out to the team. We're always willing to hear from everyone and ensure that these information sessions are well loaded and well packed. I see there's a last question. Any subgroup in South Surrey and White Rock? Yes, there is. There is a subgroup for South Surrey and White Rock. I think what we will do is that we will share all of the current subgroups and the coordinator numbers so that you can be added. You can reach out to the coordinators directly. If there's no subgroup in the location where you live, it is not a bad idea for you to, be the one to start it out, be the coordinator. So Sean will share that information.
Sorry, if I could just pitch it about that. Yeah. So
Okay.
thank you so much, B. But just like you said, if there's no, we'll post it on the group, but if there is none posted for your area, please do reach out to either myself or Oyi, and then we'll talk about it. Thank you.
Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for your time today. And we look forward to having you all and more people at the next session. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend and God bless you. Bye, everyone.
God bless you too.
Amen. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
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 Tracy, let's meet in the corner.
Okay, now I will call you now. I'll call you on the phone.
It's video call. Oh. This one you're looking very beautiful. Let's continue with video call.
Okay, I will call you on my WhatsApp.
Hey, this meeting does not want me to leave.